Hello and welcome to Bergen Stages, our entertainment magazine here at Bergen Community College, which features the behind-the-scenes look at some of the plays and musicals that we do here on campus. Today I am flanked by some wonderful actors. We're going to focus on the actor for the production of The Heiress, which is coming up. I proudly am directing this piece, so I won't be talking too much about the directorial part as much as letting the actors share some information with you today about the show The Heiress. So let me welcome you first to the to our show here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Alexander Rivera. Alex plays the role of
Morris Townsend.
Great. And Erin Ingersoll plays the role of
Catherine Sloper.
Great. And Sean Kane plays the role of
Dr. Sloper.
Great. And these are the three leads of our particular performance. And we'll get back to that very soon. But I want to learn more about you as actors because I think our audience at home would like to know more about what it is to be, as an actor, to be training here at Bergen Community College, what you've done in the past. So why don't we just kind of go in order. Alexander, I will start with you.
Well, this is my third show with Bergen Community College. Well, third Bergen Stages production. I was also in Cabaret, directed by you as well, and Kiss Me Kate. Yeah, and I mean, this past summer I worked upstate New York. I was in Cortland, New York, working with Cortland Repertory Theater, and I'm excited for this production, yeah.
Great. So where did you go to high school, Alex?
I grew up in Teaneck, New Jersey, born and raised, and that's where I went to high school, Teaneck, New Jersey.
Great. And you did some shows there at the high school?
My senior year of high school, I was in the musical. I was in Bye Bye Birdie. I was Conrad Birdie. Yeah.
You get typed in these kind of roles.
Right.
You're the
yeah.
handsome dashing
But it was
man.
my introduction to musical theater, and so being able to, listen to the music and really indulge myself in that time. It was fun. It was a good first experience.
Great, great.
Yeah.
And our audiences here at Bergen Stages will remember Alex was doing the lead in both Kiss Me Kate and in Cabaret, and then also was on our production of Almost Maine this past, a year ago at this time. So great. Erin.
Well, I started my theater career as a dancer. I danced for 13 years.
What kind of dance?
Everything from ballet to hip hop and jazz and contemporary, everything. So I did a lot of that. I started plays my sophomore year in high school, and my first play was a musical, All Shook Up. And from there I did a couple dramas, I choreographed for a couple plays, and I came here to Bergen, and my first play was Man for All Seasons, directed by Thomas O'Neill.
Right.
And I played Mary, so it was fun. It was a cool experience.
And where did you get your background in dance?
Well, I
what
started at Robin Horn Performing Arts Center, and then I changed to the King Center for the Performing Arts. So that was fun.
And kept dancing. And Sean, our bookends here, our gray-haired bookends today. So give us a little bit of your background. You've got quite a great
My
past in
background
theater.
is all mixed up, but I didn't start acting until I was 25 years old. Picked it up because I was changing majors at college and just fell in love with being on the stage and entertaining people, and that's what I do now. But I've done everything from some summer stock theater in Kentucky. I did a show in Hilton Head, South Carolina, Kiss Me Kate. Different role I played this time, but I also did Kiss Me Kate here at Bergen, and under Jim's directorial advice. And but I've worked with Alex in both Kiss Me Kate and Cabaret, and you know, it's, from my perspective as a non-student, it's fun to watch these kids grow. Well, these students grow, because most of them aren't kids anymore.
No, definitely. Yeah.
But I've done multiple things. Last summer I did, not this past summer, but the summer before, I did Midsummer Night Dream at the Webster Hall.
That's right.
I've just been trying to fill my book with as much fun and enjoyment as I can.
Great, and your resume is just growing and growing. It's just incredible to watch, and it's great to have you as part of this show as well. I mean, it's great that we've worked together several times, just like Alex and I have worked together, so it's great. And then all of us, you're the new one here. Where did you go to college?
I went to Ramapo College.
And you were a theater major there?
Correct. I started off as a biology major and wound up being a theater major.
It just pulls you in. It's like a magnet. And I don't know if you guys knew that Sean and I had a pass together separately. We both were on Hilton Head Island, but
working for the same
theater company, but at different times. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of a fun pass that we have a lot of names in common. And we talk about this being such a small business, and it really is. No matter where you are in this country, you find that you've got connections, these 6 degrees of separation between
Oh, yes.
you and everybody there. What other shows did you do here at the college?
At the college, I started off with Arsenic and Old Lace. That was a very small part, and
Oh my gosh, yes.
that was kind of scary because I hadn't done a show for about 10 years.
Wow.
And when I was auditioning for that, I was all nervous and everything, but I got a small part, and that got me back into the groove. And then we did A Christmas Carol, the musical. I played Bob Cratchit in that. I did Kiss Me Kate, Cabaret, Exonerated,
Right.
which was a wonderful piece over in Ender Hall. I played 7 different characters in that. so-
Right. Quite an ensemble piece,
Yes.
which kind of gets me to my next question for you guys, because I know our audiences like to know that we have 2 spaces here at Bergen Community College. We have our lab theater, which is a smaller black box theater on the other side of campus, and we also have the Anna Maria Saccone Theater, which is a proscenium arch theater, the bigger theater. And all 3 of you have performed in both of our spaces there. What is the difference that you're feeling? So, Erin, let me just go to you. You've now done A Man for All Seasons, and now you're getting ready for the Heiress.
Well, the Saccone is a large space. It swallows up a lot of details a lot too. And working in Ender Hall in the lab theater, it's so different because you're a lot closer to the audience and you have to pay attention more to all the little details that you don't usually see on stage from farther away.
Details? What does she mean by detail?
I mean, it's my introduction to Bergen Community College theater was on Anna Maria Saccone stage,
Right.
and so I remember stepping out onto that stage and just losing my breath, almost just being taken back by the whole situation. Yeah, you almost have to appear larger than life on that stage in order for it to relate to your audience. Whereas in the Ender Hall Lab Theater, it's extremely intimate. The smallest movement or whisper or murmur will be heard from everyone.
And caught. The
Yeah.
gesture and a look of the eye can be caught almost like a film. It's so intimate. And you've done both spaces as well.
Oh, yes. And one of the amazing things is just teaching actors how to project in the different spaces.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Our audiences know how to talk about it. But
Well, one of the amazing things is when you're in Ender Hall, it is intimate and you feel like everything can be heard, but you still have to project because there are people, I mean, I think it seats, 60 people?
the Ender Hall is 96.
It'll hold 96, so buy your tickets quickly.
Right.
But the whole thing is those people in the back deserve to hear every word also. So even though it's an intimate space, you know, the Saccone, you feel like you have to get out there and really project. Whereas in Ender Hall, you feel like just normal conversation will be heard. But
Right.
you know, so the spaces offer such different things. And you know, we were talking before the show that certain pieces will work in a large theater but won't work in that intimate space. When we did Exonerated, that would have been swallowed up by the Saccone Theater.
Right.
So it was a perfect space in Ender Hall.
So as part of an actor's training, Alexander, is projection what you work on as an actor?
Oh yeah, I mean, you have to make sure you're heard. But
Not just singing, but also
no, I
speaking.
mean,
Yeah.
of course, being clear and having diction and pronouncing your words properly are all part of, I mean, performing in any space, whether it's indoors or outdoors or big or small.
Good point. Good
Yeah.
point. Yeah. That you need to get those tools in your toolbox before we send you out into the real world to do
Right.
stuff. Even though we've sent you guys already out into the real world. So let's get more into some of the nitty gritties of what it is to be an actor here at Bergen Community College. So what kind of classes do you take as an actor here at the college?
Basic acting, stage makeup.
Basic acting starts with like improvisational theater and then you get into scene work or
Yes.
monologues and that sort of thing?
Yeah, and then there was an audition technique class that does more monologues. for
Audition
auditions
technique, right.
and all that kind of stuff. And even sometimes we got a little bit into the musical theater as well, so we did some dances and some singing as well.
To get ready to audition, so you prepare yourself for auditioning. Great.
Yes.
And stage makeup. What do you do in a stage makeup?
You learn
course?
how to make yourself appear in the best light on stage,
Uh-huh.
or make yourself look older, or have a big nose, or just random funny things that you might want
You never
to
know
use
when
on
you need it.
stage.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and you've been around the business a lot of people believe that you have some special makeup artist that comes and does your personal makeup. You know, can you imagine?
I wish.
We all do our own, right? And
I do a lot of community theater, and you know, I have never had a makeup artist touch me because most places, especially you know, unless you're in a big budget area, they don't have the funding to
Even big
have
budget.
somebody.
On Broadway, they don't,
Yeah.
the actors do their own unless it's a
Unless
specialty
it's-
makeup.
correct.
If you're doing, an aged piece where you need to look like
And
Hal
that's one of the-
Holbrook and doing Mark Twain, then of course it's going to take time to get all this makeup put on, and so you get some assistance in all of this. But
Unfortunately, people are exposed to television, and television it makes you think that everybody has their own personal makeup artist and hairstylist. And,
Right.
you know,
yeah, but they don't.
No.
They don't. But I know that you told me before the show and before that you did makeup at your high school. What was that all about?
Well, most guys in high school do not know how to do makeup.
Okay.
So,
They say they don't.
well, for the most part, and they definitely don't know how to do stage makeup most of the time. So before the show, I'd sit there for 2.5, 3 hours and do the whole cast makeup almost. Do old, young, drunkards, everything, normal stage makeup, anything. So it was just crazy. It was so much fun.
Yeah, to help them with it, to put it on and have that look. And sometimes it's funny that our lighting has changed so much in the theater that we don't need as much makeup as we used to. Do you even wear it over in the lab theater much at all? I don't think you need much.
If any.
If any, it's
Yeah.
so intimate. You might need a base or something like that, or something to highlight eyes. But for the most part, you really don't need it. What other classes are you taking here as an actor? We do have our basic program where you take English, math, and all those require history and sciences, but just the actor.
Well, there's a movement for the performing artist class,
That's a great one.
which is, it kind of takes you through history, really, each time period, starting with Greek or Roman, and allows you to learn how to embody that period on stage and how to work in your space. And so that's one of the classes that's offered here.
So if I saw you walking in, I would say, he's doing Greek, or walking in, he's doing 17th century.
Yeah.
Just by what you learn in this particular class.
Your mannerisms, how you hold yourself, position of your body in reference to other people. Yeah, it's a great class. Kay Demetz teaches that.
Cool, great. And what else were you?
There's also a theater production workshop.
Great, and that's kind of a culmination. So talk about theater production workshop just a little
Theater
bit.
production workshop was a great experience. It's basically, you are a company of actors. You're responsible for booking your space, for putting on a production in the Underhall Lab Theater. Our production happened to be Almost Maine, which was last year, this time last year. And you learn everything from what it takes to build a flat, prices of certain materials, paint, wood, to renting rehearsal spaces and booking places to perform.
Great.
Yeah.
So it gets you ready to be in your own little off-Broadway theater company. So if you wanted to put something together, you realize it ain't cheap. Or there are cheaper ways
Or
to do
easy.
it, or find a sugar daddy that can pay for all of it. But the whole idea is that that you do, and then you end up with your own production, which I proudly master directed that class. But you guys really did
I
everything.
mean, students directed, produced, acted in it. We painted the sets. We did everything.
And there's such a pride to that because you can do it, and hopefully when you leave, you go, we can do this. We don't.
Right.
And the great thing about that is that they get a better understanding of the people that, as far as actors, work with behind the scenes, and you respect more what they do. Because I've worked with actors that have no clue. They show up late. They damage things. They just
Well,
don't take
I
care
think
of
you're
it.
exactly right. I think that's an opportunity that we have, and you have it at Ramapo as well. I love their program over there because it's a general theater major. You can't just be an actor. You
Correct.
need to be building sets and painting flats and hanging lights, right? Was that what the program
Yeah,
was?
that's what we did back then. And, my first gig when I did summer stock, I was an actor tech. So I would have to make sure all the props were ready and everything else, and it really gives you a better appreciation. But it also creates that feeling of, don't do that, I have to fix it later.
At the same time, you know what it
Yes.
went in to make it. So, but and it's fun because our theater classes, even though they're biology majors and they're taking intro to theater, they have to participate in what's happening by putting crew hours in, and that pride goes into them too. When they see something they painted suddenly exist, they go, you know what, I painted that. I'm really proud of that sort of thing. So good. So let's get into the Heiress now. We've talked a little bit about your background, and we could go on episode after episode talking about that. But we're going to begin to talk about the show itself. So just briefly, because then we'll take a break and get back to it, describe your character, Dr. Sloper, Dr. Austin Sloper.
Yes. Well, he is a doctor. I think that he's very analytical because of being a doctor. Has a tendency, he knows how to do patient bedside manner, but when it comes to family matters, sometimes he fails in that. But if you come see the Heiress, you will find that. He's
Great.
a very staunch individual and has totally different attitudes towards parenting than I do. So from that perspective, you know, it really kind of stretches my boundaries. I know Jim didn't typecast me. But he's on the stoic side, but he's also good-humored with his sisters and.
Right. So he does have family. He has his sisters
Correct.
around him. He also has a daughter
Right.
that Erin plays. So we'll get back to a little bit more about him. So tell us a little bit about Catherine.
Well, Catherine is a very shy girl, and she starts the play as so. And as the play progresses, she actually starts to evolve, and it's great. It's a great opportunity to get to play her because you get to see the journey she takes as she gets to the end of the play, and she becomes this strong woman by the end.
And part of that strong woman because a man walks into her life,
A man.
and that's Morris Townsend that Alexander plays. But before we get into that, we're going to hold our audience to a little break here first, and we'll come back to you when we get back.
No problem.
So come back. We will continue with talking about the Heiress that will be opening here at the college on February 24th.
Thank you for giving me blood.
Thank you for giving me shelter.
Thank you for saving my life.
Support the Red Cross and change a life, starting with your own.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today. Learn how at ready.gov.
You may not know what to say, but we can help start the conversation. Learn more at supportyourvet.org.
Any questions?
What kind of service plan does this come with?
Unlimited.
Can I keep my same phone number? Does it have a camera? What's the warranty? Can I put my party shuffle on this?
Any questions?
No.
For the 10 questions everyone should know, go to ahrq.gov.
Hi, welcome back to Bergen Stages, our behind-the-scenes look at the production of The Heiress. I am so proud to have the leads for the play here with me today talking about the show. And we're just getting into the nuts and bolts of the characters they're playing. We've talked with Sean and Erin a little bit, but Alexander's going to tell us a little bit about the man that comes to save the day. Okay.
Or so we think.
So we think.
Morris Townsend.
Okay.
He's a charming young man who is cousin to Catherine's cousin's fiance, if that makes any sense.
It's
right.
like West Virginia something.
Yeah. So he comes in, hears about a young girl who was is a charming young girl, and goes ahead and plans on courting her. Finds out some other details about her life, and so they have this great relationship, kind of a roller coaster ride, where not only me and you, but her father gets involved, and I mean, some really good stuff.
It's a true melodrama, and also I think just the show is called The Heiress. Why is it called The Heiress, Erin?
Because the main conflict in the story is that Catherine Sloper, who is the heiress, has issues between her and her father and with Morris about what's going to happen to this money that she's supposed to inherit.
That she's inheriting. So she's an heiress because she's supposed to she gets $10,000 a year from her mother, and then $30,000 a year on her father's death. And that didn't even set this. This is set in 1850s, right? So 1850s, $40,000 a year is a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So as an heiress, she's a pretty good.
But there was never any issues until somebody came along.
But there was no issues thinking she was even going to get married.
Right.
That this money was just going to stay in the family, and she was just going to spend it and live a very high luxury
Possibly.
life.
We didn't think that far.
Yeah. So it truly is starts out as very much a melodrama, because when I think of this play, and it's great because it's hoop skirts, and it's just a great period that we don't have a lot of plays written about. And it's very much like the Barretts of Wimpole Street. It's like Elizabeth Barrett is going to get swept off her feet by Robert Browning, which happens in the show, taking her away from this stoic father and saving the day. And so that's where we are in this play. This is where the journey that we're taken on. And then suddenly it becomes this tragic love story. Fill us on a little bit about why you don't want her to get married to this guy.
Well, unfortunately, her mother passed away when Catherine was born, and my hopes and dreams were that she would stay with me her entire life and just be that flower in my garden. And there was never any question that she would ever leave, and even if she did get married, she would probably live in the house with me. So
for very selfish reasons, you want to keep
Correct.
her around, which is an interesting twist that I think as an actor you came to terms with on that.
And those are things that definitely flavor the dialogue, because you can read the dialogue many different ways as we have learned as we're going through this whole process.
As that director is so nitpicky about.
Correct. Well, that's good. I've worked with you before on Cabaret and Kiss Me Kate, and doing a drama, without all the music and song and dance. It's really fun as an actor because you do nitpick and you do point things out that maybe I didn't see, and so realizing who the character is, what his particular foibles and strengths are, flavor each sentence that he says. So
good.
Even for me, it's a great learning experience.
Well, that's great, though. And I think that's the beauty of theater, is that each one that you do, even if it were not to be the biggest success out there, you still learn from as an actor, and I think that's something that we always have to remember that. So Catherine is the heiress, the daughter there, and Morris comes in, and it's love at first sight.
Yes.
And the courtship, as you said, Alexander, happens very quickly, within 2 weeks, which is, that seems sustainable. But you want to get married.
Right.
You want to get married. You want to get out of the house. Why do you want to get out of the house so bad?
Well,
what has he done that's made you want to get out of here?
We have had a little fight about whether or not Morris is suitable. And he thinks he's not, and I believe that he is.
And why would he think you're not suitable?
Dr. Sloper sees Morris as someone who is high loan, kind of false in what he says. Doesn't really believe him for actually falling in love with his daughter, because the way Dr. Sloper sees it, Catherine isn't the woman that her mother was. And so how could any man want to marry somebody that wasn't her woman? I mean, that wasn't her mother. And so, yeah,
and that
Morris,
woman being attractive.
She's not as perfect as Providence was. So from that perspective, here this fine figure of a man comes in. He's a smooth talker, and he says he has fallen in with my daughter, who is, to me, on the plain side and really kind of just not as full as grace and gaiety as her mother was.
Right. And Erin said it, she's very shy and very socially awkward around men. The women in the house, she's fine with your Aunt Lavinia, and then of course your cousin Marion comes, and you're chitty-chatty with those two. But suddenly when your father comes into the room or Morris comes into the room, you're just so shy and socially awkward. And so I think part of that is why he can't possibly love this socially awkward, not the mother image that she should be. So you must be after the money. That's the only thing you could be, is after the money.
Right.
And so it's an interesting twist, and it's so funny. What happens by intermission? I know, I'm giving away some of the story there, so hang with me, guys. I'm not giving away too much because it's interesting. I won't go too much in the second act as we get to what happens at intermission. So you're all set to go. This is going to happen. Let's go.
We're leaving
immediately.
tonight.
Let's get on that. And Father comes in and makes a deal. And what's the deal that he makes with you guys?
Well, I come in and believe that since 2 weeks, I don't believe in love at first sight. So 2 weeks, if I can get them apart for an extended period of time, that feeling of love would fade away. So
you make a deal, and the deal is?
Deal is I have to go to Europe with him for 6 months.
6 months. And after the 6 month, what does he hope happens in that 6 months?
He hopes that I will lose affection for Morris.
And vice versa, that you
Yes.
will go off and find somebody else, and this is all just a happenstance that's over with. See, I told you so. And so you agree to this.
Unwillingly, but I do.
But
yes.
you do. You think it's a great idea. And I think because you don't want to get in the middle of all this, this is your only surviving child, the only child you have, and the only heir to your fortune.
Right.
And so the fact is I think gallantly he says, "Go! I can wait 6 months. Let's show him it's strong." It's just wonderful because I think I'm just a romantic, but it's Valentine's Day coming up, and it's like, oh yes, love can be strong, and it is. In fact, as we start, I won't get too much, but as we start into the second act, we see that when you do return,
I'm waiting.
Waiting at the house with the aunt, night after night probably. What do you guys do? What do you and the aunt do while you're waiting?
Play backgammon.
Play backgammon.
Have
Drink,
the occasional
cigars,
drink and sandwich,
food,
right?
sandwich.
And drink my brandy,
your brandy.
smoke my cigars.
Good. So just a little bit more in some of the details, and I love the rehearsal process. Something special has to happen because we talked about stage movement. What did we do with the actresses and the actors right from the very first rehearsal, thinking of stage movement? What did we give you?
Hoop skirts.
A rehearsal hoop, because you're in a hoop skirt. What's different walking around in a hoop skirt? And the men got vests and jackets, which are, will hold you differently.
Well, hoop skirts, it's almost like it's a bell, because if you move, everything gets amplified. So any little movement, the skirt goes everywhere.
And I think your dancer background helps you a lot with this. I can see that, but go ahead, yeah?
Yes, and sitting is, you have to practice how to sit.
Who would have thought? Yeah, you sit and boom, the skirt is up over your head, so you have to find out how to pull it up. Yeah.
And walking upstairs, make sure you pull it up so you don't trip. It's a good thing. And heels too, if you're wearing heels during the show.
So you're learning how to walk all over again.
And what I love is it creates this space because when two women go to talk to each other, they can't get too close.
Yeah. And hallways are wider, doorways are wider.
Right.
The distance between furniture is wider to allow for easy passage back and forth with each other. And the men we put you in vests. Why did we start that so soon in the rehearsal process?
Due in part to the fact that we are very upright. We're good posture. And so I think the vest gives you that sensation of having something tight against your back so that you can actually put your shoulders back and
feel that.
The period was very different from today. I mean,
Oh,
today, nobody really thinks unless you're into health and therefore worried about your stature. But then it was also a sign of proper upbringing and, your status. If you held yourself upright, and you gave us books to carry on our heads because it was very important during that time to, it
balance.
said something about you.
Yeah. And you guys look great walking around in them and rehearsing with them. So that's a wonderful part. And this all takes place in the Sloper Parlor. So it's just a one set play, which makes it really an interesting, intimate for the lab theater. And I think that's why we put it in the lab, because of this intimacy of this particular show there. Working with props, which are all the things you're handling. And as a director, I know it's just now the time to start adding what you're drinking, what you're eating, what you're smoking, all those different things you start putting into the show.
Oh.
And so we're just a few. So what's going to happen in the next few weeks as we get ready for the show to open?
crunch time.
Crunch time.
Crunch time.
What's crunch time?
It's constant, rehearsals and getting off book and learning the lines and then
Getting off book.
Right.
That's just one of those terms we want to make sure. That means they have to come in with their lines memorized. We don't have a prompter backstage saying, you need to say this. You have it all in your head, and that's
Right.
And so you're at that point that you need to have it all in your head there.
But what's great, when I was younger, I couldn't remember anything as far as memorization. I never made tenderfoot because I couldn't remember a scout as kind, courteous, thrifty, whatever. 13 words. I couldn't remember it. But when you start acting and the dialogue makes sense and the memory picks this up, and it's just a wonderful feeling to be out there and interacting with these guys.
So you're going to learn lines, you're going to interact with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Use props.
Use props.
Start using
all this kind of
costumes.
stuff, so. It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
So we are getting really excited about this time, because then we'll start adding all the technical elements, the real hoop skirts, all the costumes, the lighting will start coming in. And so it gets to that excitement because our show opens soon. So yeah, so on February 24th is our opening date. And I just want to thank you guys so much for being a part of today's show. I think it really puts some more intimacy to the behind-the-scenes action. So we hope that you will come see our show, The Heiress, that will be premiering at the Interhall Lab Theater. That's our small black box theater, so please get your tickets early because it will sell out. And on the screen will be the box office number or the website that you can visit. So thanks for coming.